Ha guys, let's get more news about Warriors, but first don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Pods who showed up versus Spurs gives Warriors chance to thrive. Brandon Podmski, often a popular target for displeased keyboard gangsters, replied Sunday with the kind of game he'll need to bottle for the Warriors to make a deep run in the NBA playoffs. The second-year guard took the right shots at the right time and finished with a game-high 27 points when passing was the obvious option. He chose it rather than holding or pounding his dribble. He did his usual G.I. Joe stuff, drawing charges from bigger players and grabbing more rebounds than befits his physique. Moreover, Podmski played determined defense. Golden State becomes a real threat if those habits continue in the coming weeks, with the stakes getting considerably higher and the competition getting appreciably tougher than the deficient Spurs, unwitting victims of a 148-106 Golden State runaway in San Antonio. You get a night when nobody plays more than 25 or 26 minutes. That's very helpful, Coach Steve Kerr told reporters at Frostbank Center. Big game coming against Memphis Tuesday night, so will be well rested and in rhythm for that big stretch coming. The Warriors 43-31 go into Memphis in 6th place in the Western Conference, 1/2 game ahead of the Minnesota Timberwolves, 1 game ahead of the Los Angeles Clippers and 1 game behind the Grizzlies. A win at Memphis would give the Warriors the head-to-head tiebreaker, effectively moving them into 5th place. Sunday was then at ECB take care of business. Game 4. Their Warriors, they beat a team they were projected to beat and did it convincingly. Stephen Curry played 26 minutes, Jimmy Butler 324 and Draymond Green 21. None of the accomplished veterans played in the fourth quarter because for the first time since February 25 against the Charlotte Hornets there was no need. The Warriors know what those three can do, but there remains uncertainty about how the rest of the roster, with the lone exception being Kevin Looney, will respond to the rugged obstacles ahead. Perhaps none of the complementary players is more pivotal at Podmski, who starts alongside Moses Moody, Butler, Curry and Green. Podmski is a primary ball handler on offense and is first in the team's rotation of point-of-attack defenders. He was terrific against the Spurs, playing at a fast tempo from the start and finishing with a game-high 27 points on efficient 9 of 14 shooting from the floor, including a career-high 7 three-pointers and 9 attempts. He added 6 rebounds, 5 assists, and was plus 22 over 27 minutes. Utes to start the game. We did a good job of keeping our man in front, Podziemski said. That led to runouts, a couple easy ones for Jimmy early. We put both together. Coach put an emphasis on starting strong Saturday at practice, but he also told us we're 10-0 now, 11-0 with this group that we're starting right now. He challenged us to be better. It puts less pressure on that next wave of guys we bring in to have to fight back for us, with the Spurs building fortress around Curry and Butler. He took charge of the offense. Steve Kerr reacts to unfortunate J.N. Kuminga injury versus Spurs. The Golden State Warriors pulled off a big win on Sunday as they blew out the San Antonio Spurs at Frostbank Center 148-106. Unfortunately for the Warriors, the victory came at quite a cost. This is after Jonathan Kuminga was forced to exit the game after playing just 7 minutes off the bench. The 22-year-old forward suffered a bad fall as he drove to the basket, and unfortunately he ended up re-injuring his right ankle. The Warriors later announced that the 6'8" rising star would be unable to return to the game due to a sore right ankle. The bad news for Golden State is that this is the same ankle that forced Kuminga to miss 31 consecutive games. The Warriors had been easing Kuminga back into the mix, and Sunday was his 8th game back since his lengthy injury spell. Head coach Steve Kerr spoke to reporters after the game, and the veteran shot caller had an honest reaction to the unwanted turn of events. Such a bummer, just come back, Kerr said via Warriors beat writer Sam Gordon of the San Francisco Chronicle, finding his rhythm playing well, so hopefully it's nothing too serious. As of writing, the Warriors have not provided a substantial update on Kuminga's status moving forward. It remains to be seen at this point if he will be forced to sit out again after tweaking his right ankle. Kuminga's injury comes at a crucial juncture for the Warriors, who are currently battling for positioning in the Western Conference. Sunday marked their second straight win as they improved to 43-31. They currently occupy the sixth and final guaranteed playoff spot in the West but are just one game ahead of the eighth place Los Angeles Clippers. Chris Mullin reveals he wanted to sign Ron for the Warriors along with teammate after malice at the Palace. After his playing career, Chris Mullin worked in the front office for the Golden State Warriors before Stephen Curry came around. The most decorated Golden State Warriors and living memory were Chris Mullin, Tim Hardaway Sr. and Mitch Richmond. Run TMC never found long-standing playoff success, but the trio ushered in an era of fun NBA basketball. After his playing days, Mullin took a role in the Warriors front office from 2004 to 2009. During that stint, the Warriors made the postseason only once, but the We Believe team became the third 8 seed to ever beat the top seed, sending the Dallas Mavericks and MVP Dirk Nowitzki packing before losing to the Utah Jazz in the conference semi-finals led by Baron Davis. The 2006 to 2007 Warriors were Mullin's brainchild, and he recently revealed how he didn't let the most infamous moment in NBA history affect how he built his roster. The malice at the Palace helped shape the Warriors in a November 2004 game between the bitter rivals Indiana Pacers and Detroit Pistons. Ben Wallace and Ron Arist got a little physical at the end of a blowout Pistons win in the ensuing brawl, which was not out of the ordinary for early 2000s basketball. Ron Arist and Steven Jackson rushed into the stands to fight Detroit fans, quickly turning ugly in an unprecedented way. Jermaine O'Neal, Jackson and Arist were all given lengthy suspensions, causing the Pacers to go only 44-38 that season. Jackson and Arist were two of the league's best defenders, but the Pacers traded both of them in the seasons after the fight. Jackson and teammate Al Harrington ended up on the Warriors and were the next best players after Davis on the 7 team. Mullin, unlike most general managers, was not worried about the checkered past and actually wanted to land both Jack and Arist on his team, so obviously the malice at the Palace had happened. All you guys were sitting out suspended, prefaced Mullin on All the Smoke. Donnie Walsh called me when he knew he was going to move you guys right. Matter of fact, first I talked to Ron Arist about coming here before he went to Sacramento. You know Ron, so I was trying to get him to the Warriors. I was talking to him and his agent. They did the deal at Sacramento. He's in the limo and calls me trying to squash that trade to come to Golden State. Mullin was glad he did manage to execute 2 deals despite missing out on Arist, who later became known as Meta World Peace. Donnie calls me and says, listen, I'm going to move these guys, Steven Jackson, Alabama, Harrington. And not that he handed it to me, but he goes, I really want this thing to work. I forced his hand on the Warriors. Jackson had the most productive stint of his career, averaging 19.4 points and 4.4 rebounds. And you fan, what do you think about Chris Mullin's situation? Write to us in their comments.